YouTubers, this is another video from your friendly neighborhood reviewer, Evelyn. Today we're going to review the K-drama / supernatural series Tomorrow, which came out on Netflix, or better known in its Korean name, Nail, which also means tomorrow. The plot is essentially set with supernatural themes. It's about a group of Grim Reapers in which they have a department in the afterlife which stops people from trying to kill themselves. So these group of Grim Reapers interrupt the moments before a person might kill themselves, or they try to stop the lead up to that process. The main character is a female Grim Reaper by the name of Rowoon, who's the leader of this small group. I say group, but essentially two people, in which she has her right-hand man, Lim Ryung-gu. So that's the two main ones. So the first episode, we have the team trying to stop a group of people who are trying to kill themselves in a van by gassing themselves with carbon monoxide. And Rowoon and her right-hand man is there to stop them. She stops them from trying to kill themselves by scaring them that she's going to drive over the cliff with the van with them. So she uses that scare tactic of forcing people to rethink making such a rash decision. Within the first episode, we get introduced to a normal civilian life person by the name of Cho Ju-won. We see this normal guy applying for job applications like any other person, and like the same as any young 20-somethings, they end up failing when they don't, meet the right criterias. And we get the sense that maybe he's fudged his CV with him showing that he knows, multitude of skills. But we see that doesn't let him deter him because he tries his best. So we see Cho Jun-won having a conversation with his best friend about life, and his best friend talks about that he's applying, studying for the civil examination because he wants to be a policeman. And then Cho Jun-won gets a phone call from his mom, but he ignores it. And as he finishes having the conversation with his friend, him looking a bit more defeated about having to tell his mom that he hasn't got any job, because we find that Cho Jun-won, he feels obligated to look after his family because his dad passed away when he was really young. So Cho Jun-won feels that responsibility that he has to look after his mom and his younger sister. So as Cho Jun-won goes to the bridge, walking by the bridge, he sees a guy that clearly looks like he's in distress. And Jun-won is debating whether he should help this guy, whether it's, he should stop this guy from jumping over. But in that moment, we have Rowoon and Lim Ryung-gu. They're also the Grim Reapers because they're there trying to stop this guy from jumping. But as Lim Ryung-gu then sees Chu-won looking with the binoculars whether this guy's going to intercede, before they can do anything, Cho Ju-won goes and tackles the guy for stopping him from killing himself. But of course this normal guy is determined to kill himself. Cho Ju-won is trying to reason with him not to jump over. But before they can do anything else, Rowoon, the woman, she intercepts by kicking Cho Ju-won in the chest. And then we get the supernatural elements within this Grim Reapers. The series so far kind of reminds me of a cross between Beetlejuice, Bleach, the animated series about Grim Reapers. The reason why I say Bleach, because they have this cool special effect in the Grim Reapers look like it's through Dave running so quickly through they teleport from one place to another, similar to how it is in Bleach with the flash step. And with this bit I find kind of unusual, that the Grim Reapers happen to expose themselves in front of another civilian. And while they're having that struggle, Rowoon is talking with Cho Jun not to butt in. We can see the normal guy in the midst of the commotion jumps over the bridge, but Cho Jun-won's reflex, he goes and grabs onto the guy, and inadvertently Cho Jun-won and his other guy, they both fall into the river. And which we have the crux of the story where Cho Jun-won was never meant to, go into an accident. And then we see him awake in the afterlife that they have in this series called, I think I'll put the name of the afterlife that they have here, Chao Mundong, but I'll put it here just to clarify. And at first he has no idea what's going on. They go and tell him, Rowoon goes and tells him about what happened, that he accidentally fell in. That was never meant to happen, and right now he's in a coma. And Cho Ju-won is thinking he's dreaming or whatever. So as he goes within the Afterlife realm, that it's all very corporate. In this series, they've made the Afterlife very corporate, that people working behind offices and so on. Because we get the sense that the Afterlife is reflecting, the real world, contemporary style. And then we get introduced to the Jade Emperor, this woman that apparently is the head of the Afterlife. And she basically tells Chao Ji-won, since you were never meant to have fallen in the river and stay in a coma, you have two choices. One, you can wake up in 3 years' time from the coma, or two, you work for us for 6 months. And Chao Ji-won, you was expected to say yes, but then the Jade Emperor gives another stipulation. Work for us, wake up, in 6 months, and you get to have any job that you want. And that kind of entices Chao Ji-won to say, okay. But first, within the first episode, he doesn't want to work with Go Ryon and the other guy, so he goes to other different departments. But inevitably, he works with Go Ryon, and the first case within episode 1 to do is they have a case where this young woman that works in a production company, like a copywriter, probably writes, like a journalist, that she has like a really tough background, that she was bullied massively, and something happens to her where this young woman goes and meets her bully, who now guises as a manhwa artist, illustrator. Don't know whether she does the drawings as well. That her bully has made her story like hers, because the bully goes and pretends that she was bullied in high school. That's the reason that she's created this story. And then we see that the the RN department, which is the one that helps people to not kill themselves, they go and put themselves within this person's life by using magic, some sort of supernatural things where they're able to disguise themselves as reporters, as cameramen, to, really go into this person's life and to see what are the circumstances that has led a person to be so vulnerable that the only thing that they see is to go and take their own life. So we get cool supernatural effects within episode 1 to 2, in which Go Ryon knows that she has to go inside the young girl's memories to find out what are the big factors that have caused this woman to come to this conclusion, and then have really cool special effects where Chao Ji-won and Go Ryon go into this woman's memories, and then we see how the girl was bullied massively by the main bully, and the girls seeing like what kind of psychological effect they had on her. So by the end of the episode, we see that the girl runs up to the top of the building and is about to kill herself, but Chao Ji-won goes and tries to stop her, and then we get a really cool scene where Go Ryon pushes the girl off from the building, but of course she doesn't die. It's more like the girl is seeing her life flashing before her eyes. That the end of the first episode really does give a message to people. While the girl was falling down, she was seeing all the happy moments in her life, that her life wasn't just all pure sadness. She saw her achievements, her first day in work, how she felt, and that tried to show the girl that she had more to live for, and that for her to overcome her circumstances. So by the end of the episode, Go Ryon manages to make the girl see that there's more happy things out there, that she doesn't need to focus on the bad, and that she can overcome them. One bit I liked about the first episode, and a bit, not real life, that Go Ryon and the team, they happen to help people expose the injustices. So Go Ryon goes and confronts the bully and makes her feel all the pain and the shame, and we can see the bully there pleading for her life. But Go Ryon goes and exposes that this woman pretending to be good, her stories based on, her fictional stories based on her life, that was all a fraud. And this gets published, broadcasted in the news. And also the fact that the young girl that was bullied, that when she tried to tell management about this woman that she was meant to interview, they didn't believe her. So by the end of the episode, we have the young girl, bravely calling the news station saying that she wants to come forward with her story. So by the end of the first episode to about the second episode, we have Chao Ji-won is already there helping the team. But the greatest subplot here is about Go Ryon. She looks really cool. This actress is 44 years old, and and she goes around with pink hair, pink eyeshadow, and we kind of get inferences of flashbacks that maybe she killed herself and she was going around in hell, because the way that they explain, you know, heaven and hell in the terms in this K-drama series, that of course you go to hell if you do crime, but also if you kill yourself, it's like you're walking around for eternity in full of regret, listening to the loved ones. So it's basically homing into the message that just because you want, you know, things to stop, maybe in the afterlife it's not going to stop. It might be continued 10 times worse. And we get the sense that the Jade Empress, when, you know, it was said in the series that the Jade Empress, like the head woman, went and retrieved Go-Guron from hell, and this what disturbed the other, you know, Grim Reapers. And we also get the sense there's another Grim Reaper, the actor, you've probably seen him Doom at your service, that he plays the head Grim Reaper, his team that go and pick out the criminals to send to hell. So we can see how the other characters within the afterlife, how they interact and what are their purposes in this mechanism. And we go around we see flashbacks that really old, she was there like, you know, before there was electricity within Korea, and that we see in her life that she was fated to marry somebody that she loved deeply. And then we get little other flashbacks within the other episodes that I think there was a betrayal that happened. It wasn't confirmed whether she went and killed herself, because we see that she goes around with a red bracelet thread, like when she was walking around in hell, that red bracelet thread was hanging loose. Japanese, Korean customs, they talk about when you're fated to somebody, you're tied to the red thread of fate. And looks like Go-Guron went and destroyed that, and we don't know her reasons why, what happened. From the flashbacks, I kind of understood that maybe she got betrayed by somebody she thought she loved, or maybe somebody killed her loved one, and she went after the other person for revenge. So that's the greater plot within this series, because each episode is like a case-by-case basis of different people that have different circumstances within life. And with episode 2, we have that Chao Ju-won's best friend is like in a vulnerable position in which he's failed at least 3 times his civil exam, you know, test for him to become a policeman, and he's just basically given up. And also within episode 2-ish, Chao Ju-won goes and, you know, they give him, like, he was walking around as a soul, but they gave him a physical body, but other normal people would see him with a different face. And Chao Ju-won finds that out when he's like trying to tell the police about his friend that might end up killing himself. And he comes to that realization that he's technically not dead, not yes dead. And when he goes back to his mom and sister's house, he manages to sneak in, pays his respects to the shrine of his dad, and hides in the little room, hearing his sister and mom talk about what's happened. And the mom are clearly depressed, like drinking, and the sister giving moral support, saying that they have a long road ahead concerning Chao Ju-won being in a coma. So we get that little sad thing. So by episode 1 and 2, we have different cases. So this is my summary about episode 1 and 2. Then we get 3 and 4, in which we have different cases about eating disorders and the other eating disorders, which is interesting. So this is about encompassing the first half of the series. I've watched up to episode 8. And where I am at the moment watching the series, we have weird questions regarding Go-Guron's past, and also the other Grim Reaper guy that we see that when Go-Guron first came into the afterlife, he worked under this guy, and they had kind of like this, there's something tying them together. And I'm going to leave you with the last bit. This guy, for the life of me, I'll put this guy's name and picture. He can't sleep because he dreams about his past and probably the moment when he died. And he has a new piece within the dream that greatly disturbs him. He sees Go-Guron in his dream in the last bit. And the cliffhanger that we got left until I see the other episodes, he goes and tells Go-Guron, "How come you're in my dream?" And then we get left with that. Okay, so this is the premise of the series. I didn't explain everything because there's so much intricate details, but I will give a cut down on the episode about, there's one particular episode that really touched me, but at first when I saw it, I was thinking, this is like kind of making 2 extremes to one end, about this young couple that were together, but the wife ends up dying, and she escapes in spirit form to get the team to help her husband for not killing himself, because the husband also had other extenuating mental issues. The wife, the characteristic of this wife reminded me of Bloody Cinderella. I was like a little bit unbelievable in towards, but then again, love is love, I guess. You know, people when they find somebody they love, you know, very genuine. I was like, I'm a little bit cynical at times when I see an over dramatization or something. But the series is meant to really tell people that, you know, who are in a tough place, that taking your life doesn't just affect the people, you know, doesn't just affect you, it affects everybody, even the dead. Let's say the dead, you know, we don't know what happens when we die, but you think, you know, the person in the afterlife would want you to take their life, take your own life so prematurely. So the series does really talk about these really serious issues, but in a way to get other people to understand. Well, anyway, YouTubers, this is the end of the video. If you want me to describe with more details the other episodes and what I think, let me know down below. And also thank you so much for subscribing, and please help the channel grow for any new viewers by subscribing. And I'll do any videos that you would like me to review. Just leave a comment down below. As I leave you, bye!